our next segment, Jordan. We're going to talk a little bit of recruiting now. So a couple things have happened since we've talked recruiting on the show, Jordan. And I'm going to start first and foremost with a recruitment that did not really go our way. And this recruitment was an interesting one, obviously. Everybody knows Clemson was in the market for another wide receiver, Dylan Alford. He was a former Ole Miss commit who decommitted from Ole Miss. Well, actually wasn't decommitted from Ole Miss, but he came to the spring game for Clemson, and then he came back for camp this summer. Worked out for camp, left camp, really wanted a Clemson offer. He decommits from Ole Miss. 30 minutes later, announces that he got his official offer from Clemson. So all things point to Clemson's leading. Clemson's going to land Alfred. That's going to be their third wide receiver of the class, so on and so forth. Well, things didn't work out that way. He scheduled a visit to the All-In Cookout. After he left the All-In Cookout, he went to Ole Miss. Obviously, he ended up committing to Ole Miss. So, Jordan, quickly, what happened in the Dylan Alfred recruitment there? And then we can move on to a commitment that we did just recently get.
Yeah, it's one of those things, when we talked about it, leading into that weekend, Clemson absolutely was in the driver's seat. They were in the driver's seat to land his commitment. He goes to the All-In Cookout, leaves a little bit early, but that was to be expected. That was to be expected. He went on a visit to Ole Miss following that had already been scheduled as well, and the tides kind of turned after that. And that's what the reality of recruiting nowadays. Everything can go your way and everything can point in your favor, and then something can happen at the very last minute and end up choosing somebody else. Even Clemson, whose recruiting process has made them a lot less prone to having that happen to them. It still happens. It's one of those realities. And it's disappointing. We'll see kind of how they pivot. You do have two guys in the class already that you expect to play receiver, and Juju Preston and Marquise Henderson, who both are definitely more smaller build, like athlete types. Marquise, I think it definitely has a lot more. I want to say a higher ceiling as far as his frame and his speed. He's one of the fastest players in the state, probably the fastest player in the state. But he's playing primarily running back at Belton Honea Path. He doesn't, he's going to be more of a work in progress. If I had to expect when he gets on campus.
And no wide receiver scheduled to leave next year.
Right.
Obviously, unless they leave via the portal or somebody decides to leave early. But nobody's out of eligibility next year. So that also may be another reason that Clemson kind of stays with the two they got committed and, kind of shuts it down at this point. So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, shifting gears to a recruitment that did go our way, Jordan. We did get a recruit here recently. Am I correct?
Yes, we did.
All right. Tell us a little bit about our new recruit.
Yeah. So after we got off last week, shortly after, a 4-star athlete, Shavar Young from Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee, ends up committing to Clemson. He is in the 2026 class. Clemson absolutely likes him at corner. He plays both sides at his high school. Some programs were recruiting him at receiver, others were recruiting him at corner. Clemson and Mike Reed loves him at corner. So he's going to be he's the first addition in that defensive back class for 2026. Really, really talented kid. I think he still has a lot to go a lot of room to go because he's kind of he's dividing his attention at two positions. But I think the athletic traits are absolutely there. He can run. Just everything Mike Reed likes in a corner. So that is a really, really good addition for the 2026 class, and things are getting off to a good start there. Welcome to Clemson, Shavar Young. If you watched his Instagram live, he did it. It was a funny kind of bait and switch type of commitment. He initially revealed Tennessee gear. He had all Tennessee gear. He's going to commit to Tennessee, and then him and his mom looked at each other, and then they both took off their Tennessee stuff to reveal the Clemson stuff underneath. So that was kind of cool. It's kind of funny because we had another recruit do that with Tennessee specifically. I don't remember which one it was. Was it? Oh man, who? Oh man, I can't think of it right now. But it was it was either in last class or this class. That kind of did a fake out with Tennessee.
I can't remember.
I wonder if that's intentional now. Probably not. But I thought it was funny regardless. But big pickup for the Tigers. The state of Tennessee is definitely still a priority for Clemson as far as recruiting.
Yeah.
And so being able to get guys you want, being able to get guys that you want is a massive deal, especially with Tennessee kind of returning a little bit to form and being a much bigger much bigger force on the recruiting landscape. Especially, we know how the recruitment of David Sanders has gone, and Tennessee has been right there in the thick of it. So you don't want to lose too many more of those. You don't want to lose those battles, in the future. You want to, right. That's a school that, if Tennessee is if you're battling with them, it's a big deal if you win one over them, because it's important. So, massive pickup for the 2026 class, massive pickup for Mike Reed, and really excited about how that class is shaping up with some of the targets that they are prioritizing early.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, man, good news on the trail for the Tigers. Obviously, continue to working that 2025 class, and already getting some 2026 commits trickling in. So it's always a good thing. Recruiting starts not winding down, but being less talked about this time of year as fall camp, and and everything's starting to ramp back up.